All right, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Auto SR and all of the updates that just happened for the Xbox Ally X. So if you aren't aware, April was a pretty big and substantial update for the Xbox Ally X, coming along with AMD driver updates where we're looking to get improvements in stability on titles like Crimson Desert, Ghost of Tsushima, Avowed, and then you get an optimizing performance from games like Resident Evil Requiem, Marathon, Battlefield 6. And then on top of all of that, you got the Xbox app and Game Bar getting significant upgrades, talking about the display widget, where you can now customize your display or at least change your resolutions right within the menus. You can also manually add or remove games and apps. That is now for everyone. So you can kind of hit that plus button and now get into bringing apps into that Xbox mode. They got the gamepad cursor. That was something that was on the Xbox Ally X already, but now it is in Game Bar. So with those updates, all PC handhelds that's using that Xbox mode will be able to use now that gamepad cursor. They also added like new things like the haptic feedback experience, where they now give you enhanced control vibrations or richer vibrations, which is really neat as well. They improved the fingerprint recognition accuracy, CPU performance tuning, system stability, game optimizations, and then setting navigation as well. And then finally, the biggest one being that Auto SR preview. It works with most games. So they did recently add the Auto Super Resolution within the Xbox mode, where you now can use that with most DirectX 11 or DirectX 12 games. And that is pretty much the rule of thumb. There are some games that have not worked and have worked for me. You just got to keep testing it. I thought Final Fantasy didn't work, but then it did the next day. Just keep testing it, but it's supposed to work with any DirectX 11 or DirectX 12 game. All right, so really quickly, I'm going to describe what Auto SR is. It's an AI-based upscaling technology integrated directly into Windows 11. It uses the NPU or neural processing unit to enhance the visual quality on frame rate of games in real time. So unlike a method like DLSS or FSR that developers have to code, Auto SR is applied at the operating system level, similar to Radeon Super Resolution or code RSR. So how does it actually work? It functions by rendering a game at a lower internal resolution. So think 720p to 1080p. So it's taking that small lower resolution result and trying to boost it up to the native resolution of the screen. So moving into the game by game breakdown, let's talk Crimson Desert. Performance wise, Auto SR was pretty much a full fail for the title. Using it at 720p resulted in a performance drop to around 40 FPS, whereas turning it off and just running it native at 720p provided roughly like 48 to 49 FPS. But if that drop wasn't enough, it introduced a significant noise and shimmer in the image, similar to how you would see in PSSR versus a clear, steady image. So it just one, introduced a lot of noise, but two, it really had a significant performance drop as well. My recommendation for this title simply just to keep using my optimized settings at 1080p with FSR 3.1 quality, because it did provide much more stability and clarity. So it was, like I said, a fail when it came to Auto SR and Crimson Desert. Next up, we had God of War. Performance on here is that the Auto SR at 720p upscaling to 1080p, it ran at approximately 40 FPS. Disabling it increased the frame rate to 47, but resulted in like a softer image. Overall, there were micro level improvements in detail, specifically like in that fur texture and like Kratos's axe. Though the performance hit makes it like a tough kind of trade-off, and you can definitely see that Auto SR is improving the image more, but again, it is introducing some instability in the frame time, and it's also taking a performance hit where Radeon Super Resolution just does not do that. I wouldn't call it a complete fail, but it definitely still has a lot of work to be done there as well. Another use case, Cyberpunk 2077. I'll probably describe this as the best version of the Auto SR tested during the stream, as it had like the least impact on performance while maintaining a stable frame time. So Auto SR significantly improved the clarity of text on signs and reduced shimmering and flickering on thin objects like those rails I was pointing out in window frames. But while it did look better than the native 720p, it did still struggle to beat 1080p with FSR 3.1 quality, which provides similar performance with better overall image resolve. So then you're starting to think like, okay, if it's not better, then what is the point of me using it? FSR 3.1 quality is still there. The NPU isn't really offsetting as much as I would like in order for the performance to get significantly better with that 720p. So it just feels as if it's not like a loss, but it's definitely showcasing the functionality of it if FSR 3 isn't present or something like that. Next up, we have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think this is a perfect use case, though. This is the perfect use case. For Auto SR, because the game lacks native upscaling options, running at 720p with Auto SR provided a boost to like 50 FPS compared to the 30-38 we've seen at the native 1080p. And then with that, you kind of get more clarity, sharper image at that basic 720p, resolving fine details like smokestacks, Cloud's sword, Cloud's hair. All of that starts to become into play and is at a actually nice boost to FPS. But again, it's only there because we don't have those other options within the game. They do have a way to kind of do dynamic resolution scaling, but it is a terrible implementation. So Auto SR does come to the rescue with that. You just set it to 720p. You set it to 100% on the dynamic resolution. You make sure VRR is on because that helps with stability and image pacing or frame time pacing, and that you're good to go. Basically, you're going to be able to have a good solid 40 FPS experience that you would normally be stuck at 30, pushing it all the way up to 1080p because the image quality is that bad. So yeah, that's a true win. And that is the use cases that we're looking for because RSR isn't doing that. It's not doing nearly as much as this is for games like this. And that is true value add. Next up, we have Marathon. Marathon is a sidestep. It was actually just a part of the driver optimization for the April update, not necessarily anything for Auto SR. But I wanted to test and see all of these optimizations that they were talking about and toting, whether it actually showed true. As I was going through the stream, we were trying to reach 60 FPS with this game for a long time. Despite being at 35 TDP and having CPU boost on, it still hovered around 50-55 on the Ally X. One thing that I can say though is that the Ally X provided a much smoother experience with no screen tearing compared to the Legion Go 2, which just suffered heavy tearing and like erratic frames sometimes. I'm not sure what they did for maybe it's just the docking situation and how it's docked. But regardless, there is better optimization on that Ally X than it is on that Legion Go 2, even though the performance level was still the same. So I'm not sure if they were talking frame rate or they were talking about optimizations elsewhere, but that is what the results were based on just like for like settings within Marathon. So what does this all mean? What does Auto SR truly mean? For me, it's another tool in our tool belt. I think that Auto SR should be competing with Radeon Super Resolution, not FSR 3.1 or any of the upscalers that has integration within the game. I think it should be only tackling RSR. And if they can figure out a way to get the NPU to take a upscaled image and make it even better, that's the value add. Auto SR should be treated in that way. It should be able to take a 720p image and make it better, but it also should be able to take a upscaled 720p image and make it even better as well. Now, I know that might be asking for a lot, but I think that's the only true value add here outside of games that do not have it. And as we go on and move forward, there's not going to be many games out there that's not using some form of upscaling. Outside of that, of course, this big update came with so much more, and the docking experience has been truly sensational. I'm trying to tell you, I just tried it with the Legion Go 2, not the same thing, not even close. As I go on and on with this Ally X, I am really starting to see the true value of just having good service, good support behind your stuff. Because the Ally X first release to now, I am starting to feel like this is more of a console handheld than a PC handheld. And as time goes on, I can clearly see the difference between the two. And that's going to keep widening and widening. And yes, that screen is superior. Yes, that OLED is a bad boy, but you cannot overcome laziness, lack of support, and terrible service. Like Legion Space feels draining to use, and I don't want to feel like that when I'm just trying to play games. So yeah, I'm leaning more towards my Ally X. When I'm ready to play a game, I'm leaning more towards it. It's easy, it's understandable, and really the Legion Go is only being going to be saved by Steam, and that's not good. So yeah, you can throw Steam on it. Yeah, that will probably take away most of your frustrations, but then you lose a lot of your catalog that I actually like for these, which is my Game Pass. So I don't know how I feel about that just yet. All I know is that right now I am loving the Xbox Ally X. But that's pretty much it for the video. I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you all for your support. I really appreciate you when you kind of get to these parts of the video. So if you did get here, leave a comment. A for effort. A for Auto SR down below. I appreciate it if you got this far. Outside of that, I'll catch you boys in the next one. Peace.